and we are just a couple of days away from opening day. The 2015 Boston Red Sox season is underway, and joining us on the line, we have Red Sox Director of Marketing, Brian Sullivan. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
And even though it's a little bit of a cold and rainy day here in New England, but it doesn't dampen the excitement at all for Monday.
Oh, no, not at all. I think we're all extremely excited. It's one of those time of year that, it comes quickly, but once it does, it just, to me, it's the first sign of spring and summer, so always something we look forward to.
And it wouldn't just really be opening day if it wasn't, cold and rainy in the days leading up to it. That seems to always be the way. But then we usually luck out by the time the season starts.
Exactly. It's definitely been a tough winter, but in my opinion, it makes baseball that much better when it finally arrives.
Well, you're working down at Fenway Park. I'm sure that everything is ready to go and everything's been well cared for over the winter.
Oh, absolutely. I think the grounds crew and the staff have done a fantastic job getting Fenway Park ready. Looks as great as ever, so I think we're ready to go.
Now, a couple of weeks back, we talked with Adam Grossman, the Senior Vice President for Marketing and Brand Development for the Red Sox, and I asked him the question, and I'll ask you the same question with you being the Director of Marketing. What's the challenge of finding new ways to market a team that already has such an impact and such a lockdown in this area? Do you look beyond New England to be able to spread the Red Sox brand?
Well, I think that it's a great question, and the way I look at it is, even though it's a brand or team with a local footprint, it's a global brand in a lot of respects as well. So we do have a lot of fans throughout the nation and throughout the world, and we certainly, through a lot of channels like social media in particular, want to make sure that we really have a line of communication with those fans. So we do a lot of work in those forums just to make sure that we show a lot of the things behind the scenes things that we want the Red Sox message to get out there and expose as many fans as possible to it. But it's that element, and it's also just really trying to, even within our own community, trying to find ways to bring individuals that may not go to Fenway Park or experience the Red Sox experiences often, and really bring what we think is a great game and the iconic Fenway Park and the great brand of Red Sox to them. So there's a lot of initiatives I think we can do outside of our footprint, but also within.
Well, one of the great things about the Red Sox is, as an organization, you're always on the forefront of new ways of fan interaction. And each year that comes about, there seems to be new and different ways that the fans can have a better experience, both at Fenway Park and overall as a Sox fan. What are some of the new initiatives for 2015?
Well, the main one that we're really excited about is our Calling All Kids initiative, and it really stems from really some of your initial question of how do we reach newer or broader fans, and for us, it is about, first and foremost, about kids, and we know there's a challenge in baseball in general that fewer kids certainly are engaged in baseball, certainly compared to when I was a child. And for us, it's about really trying to reach out and create that next generation of baseball fans. And we feel like with the Calling All Kids program, we can do that by launching a host of initiatives across ticketing programs to really help create access to Fenway Park, across a whole bunch of improvements in Fenway Park to really create that wonderful experience that when families and kids do come to Fenway that they can have exposure to. And then third, in the community, really trying to reach out outside of our own ballpark to community events and really establish that bond and that link to baseball. And we have a whole host of initiatives that really will accomplish that this year, we hope.
You hear a lot of talk, especially in this area where lacrosse is just starting to grow a little bit. But I know up north it has become, has a strong foothold. And people say kids just aren't playing baseball like they used to. But kids still love baseball as much as they used to. And they love the Red Sox. But as you said, you want to make sure that you keep making them realize that as much as you will enjoy watching the games at home, Fenway Park is an experience that you have to be part of. If you consider yourself a baseball fan, a sports fan, even just a person who loves New England, you have to get out and experience Fenway.
That's absolutely true. And I think to your point, we know several different things that we've experienced in our past, and when we ask fans that two things. One, when a child plays baseball, that they're more likely to become a baseball fan. Mm-hmm. So it's very important for us to go out in the community and make sure that that's as easy as possible and that's as broad as possible. But we also know that, particularly in an area like Boston with the Red Sox and with what we think an iconic ballpark in Fenway Park, that the more families and kids that come to Fenway Park, we know that the likelihood of them becoming a lifelong baseball fan is much, much greater. So with our Calling All Kids program, what we're doing is trying to make that easier. An example would be we are for any kid 14 and under, we're actually making available 25,000 tickets to the 2015 season. For any kid that shows up and signs up for Red Sox Kid Nation, they have an opportunity to go to a game for free. And it's been a very successful program for us up until now, and one that I think can help accomplish that goal. But it really just doesn't end there as well, that if there are any sort of children or young adults 15 or over, we're also rolling out what we're calling our Student 9 program, which is at any point in time, at any game, home game, throughout the 2015 season, if a student shows up with their student ID or goes to redsox.com/student, they can actually purchase a $9 student ticket to any Red Sox game. So it's really creating that accessibility, because we know that once a young adult or a child goes to Fenway Park, we believe that they'll be a baseball fan for life.
Well, and that's one of the things that I've been most impressed with for years there was there were all these complaints in New England about how hard it was to get into a Red Sox game, and the price of the games were keeping families from being able to go. And I think now, the team has found a good balance of being able to make it a family-friendly experience, and at the same time still be able to put a great team on the field and still be able to have the money to invest back into the organization.
And it definitely is a balance, and I think you're right. So I think for us it is trying to strike that balance between, obviously, putting the best product on the field, because that's going to benefit everyone, benefit the Red Sox, benefit the fans, and benefit kids and families who are trying to reach out to. And so I think it does become a huge part of what we're trying to do. We're trying to make balance the accessibility, make sure that we have as many people who can enjoy our product or our team, and certainly balance that with ways that we can make sure we put the best product in the field.
Now, in marketing the team and helping to create these strategies to spread the word about the Red Sox and get people excited for the team, does it enter? How much does your role enter into when the players are coming into town? Is it more a matter of the roster is created and now you find opportunities for these players, or do you look at a guy like a Pablo Sandoval and say, "Wow, there's a lot of marketing opportunities for a guy like that," and kind of use that as part of the pitch to bring him to Boston?
Well, I will say that Ben and his staff, it really is about baseball first, and the way I look at it is marketing is really a support structure for him, and he makes his decisions certainly independently of what we do, and it is first and foremost about winning, putting the best product on the field, and making sure that we have the right team in place to really maximize the ballpark and the different nuances of Fenway Park. And I think obviously Ben and team has done a wonderful job up until now. I look at my job is really to, once he puts that team in place, to really help highlight all the great things that he's put together, him and his staff, and really look at ways that we can support just creating what is their story. And to be honest with you, a lot of the things that we do in marketing are really just coming directly from the clubhouse. And it's the way I look at it is my job to put my finger on the pulse of what's already happening in the clubhouse and help to highlight those so the fans can enjoy them. Because I think most fans do want to hear what's happening, hear the stories that are coming out of the ballpark and out of the clubhouse, and just really highlight those. So I don't look at it as us really driving the conversation. It's really more, once that team's in place, how do we highlight the stories that are already there?
Well, one of the stories that's already there, of course, is the youth movement. There's a lot of great young players that are coming up, and I'm listening to sports talk radio. I'm reading some of the stories in the paper, and it seems like, as much as there's a lot of new additions to the team that came through in free agency, people are really getting excited about some of the younger players that are coming up through the system and getting ready to make a significant impact.
100%. I think, again, it goes to, again, obviously Ben and his team would be the best individuals to talk about the scouting and the prospects. But I think that from my standpoint, I know we're excited in the marketing department that there's just a lot of great energy coming up from our young players, and I think the team itself is, in my opinion, is very well situated to be successful in the near term, but also the long term because of those prospects. And I think that I think a lot of people in the national media would echo, just from the standpoint of the type of team that Ben and his staff have been able to put together. I think it's pretty exciting for all of us.
And it's great to be able to market a team concept. I mean, a lot of people have been harping on the fact that, at least on the baseball side of things, there's no standout, ace number one pitcher on the staff this year. But, from a marketing standpoint, you're marketing the Red Sox as a whole and as this team concept. And I think that that's something that a lot of people will gravitate toward, because we see it with other organizations that have success. And it's something that we love about the Red Sox teams we've seen in the past, where that chemistry, that love for one another becomes something that we like to to think of as being uniquely Boston, uniquely New England.
I would definitely agree with that, and I think it's the chemistry is something that it's not one of those things that you can just make up, and it goes back to my earlier point of the chemistry is already there, and it's just for us in the marketing department when we market this team, it's about how do you just highlight those stories, those kind of little anecdotal things that pop up naturally and organically throughout spring training as the team comes together, that we can just give people a peek behind the tent, if you will, and show the kind of camaraderie that's already there. And I think that for us it is energizing because you see that it's not just fabricated. The team really enjoys being with each other and playing with each other, and just for us makes it a lot easier just to talk about the team. But I think it's just pretty exciting to know that these are the type of teams that I do agree are ones that really resonate in the area, and I think that my hope is, and I believe this team is definitely one of those.
And just about the final minute or so that we have, what are some of the other exciting things that people can look forward to happening around the Red Sox and Fenway Park this year?
Well, going back to the Calling All Kids initiative, I think I mentioned the overall ticketing programs, but I think we have a whole host of other things going on revolving around Fenway Park, and we have a whole new what I would call Gate K, and it's essentially Gate K for kids. It's a whole special entryway for families and kids adjacent to Gate B that really refurbishes the whole concourse and introduces a lot of family and kid-friendly initiatives, things like a 7-foot-tall Wally bobblehead, an interactive video wall where fans can take photos and electronically sign their name and have it stream out through the wall in the ballpark, to balloon artists and stilt walkers in Fenway Park. So I think there's a lot of things we're doing inside Fenway Park that I think we're pretty excited about, but also out in the community as well. So we're working with, for the second year in a row, Highland Street Foundation to do an Out of the Park series, which is a free event for families in Boston Commons, where we telegraph a road game and really create the Yawkey experience outside of Fenway Park. And that will be in late June of this year as well. More details to come.
That sounds really cool. And, of course, if you ever need another Fenway Park, a smaller version, the president of the New Bedford Bay Sox has a replica in his backyard up in Maine, so I'm sure he'd be willing to lend it out for the night.
That's fantastic. It's funny because when I was growing up playing like wiffle ball and stuff, one of my friends did the same exact thing. Replica Fenway Park, Green Monster and everything, even tried to get some advertisers on it. It was pretty impressive. So that's definitely close to my heart, so I'll keep that in mind.
I thought it was a great idea until he charged me $8 for a beer. Then I was like, wait a minute. I'm just kidding. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, Brian Sullivan, Director of Marketing for the Red Sox. Good luck with this season, and hopefully we'll talk to you down the line.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
All right, take care.